We are hearing so much about trauma these days, and the definition is actually very broad, a lot different than what we earlier thought of as trauma. So many of us will say, I don't have any trauma. I had a fabulous childhood. My parents loved me. I loved them. Everything was perfect. It has nothing really to do with trauma. There's so much more to it. A trauma could be, in the typical sense, a car accident, some kind of, big physical injury of some kind. It could be verbal, physical abuse in the family. It could be all kinds of things, but it's really any situation where it overwhelms your capacity to cope, where you didn't have the tools to defend yourself, any adverse situation, really any emotion that's stuck in you that's unresolved. It's so broad that it's worth considering if you are struggling with current behavior, anger, rage, fear, whatever it might be. It's worth, you have a really good chance that it is some emotion that is buried and repressed that you might not even have thought of as trauma, but it's holding inside of you somewhere. And as humans, we are the ones most apt to hold and store our trauma for decades. And often it dictates our behavior, our relationship, so many things, and we don't have even memory what it is or even know what it is. So that's one thing to keep in mind, the broad spectrum of what trauma can mean. And I just want you to keep that in mind and be open rather than hearing that word and just saying, nope, that's not me. I'm almost rephrasing the word and saying any adverse situation, any situation where you didn't have the means to cope, felt hopeless, and it wasn't resolved for you. It didn't push through you. Just as simple as that. Each day, we're learning more and more about trauma, especially in the past 5 or 10 years. We've had the development of the polyvagal theory, the vagus nerve being strongly associated as a key component of trauma, the central nervous system holding on to so much reactivity that we didn't realize before. Dr. Dan Siegel and his development in trauma, Dr. Bessel van der Kolk, and so many others are leading the way on the study of trauma, and also on so many interventions. And there are really so many out there that it can be overwhelming, and it's difficult to understand which one is for you. The one that resonated with me, that helped not only me, but my clients, has been emotional freedom technique. It doesn't mean that's the one for you, but it is, in general, really good for anxiety. And then it can help with some inner child work, which is the one that I'm going to demonstrate today. Of course, there's a host of other tools. This is one that has, like I said, worked for me and many of my clients, and I see results fairly quickly. So I wanted to share it. In this EFT that I'm about to demonstrate, we are going to be doing a re-imprintment of a memory. What that means is we're going to visualize a memory and we're going to put a new imprint on that memory. This technique was developed by Carl Dawson, and it's a powerful technique because it can create a new memory in its place, and it also can help release a lot of the emotions associated with it through the tapping areas that are holding on to that emotion. So it's kind of doing a few things at once.